Namo Buddhaya. Welcome and welcome back to another video. Today, I want to talk about something really important for all of our lives, especially in these days. And that is the things that we should not speak with others, according to Buddha's teachings. Now, at first, you might be thinking, well, I'm not a Buddhist, so why should I care about these things? Here's the thing. These principles can be applied to anyone's life, regardless of their religion or belief system. So that is why these speeches are called 4 unwholesome speeches. That is what Buddha said about these speeches, 4 unwholesome speeches. So without any further ado, let's dive in. First of all, we have lying. Now Buddha said, stay away from lying. Now I know we all have said white lies here and there in all of our lives, right? But whether it is a white lie, whether it is a black lie, gray lie, or a red lie, no matter what the lie is, lying itself can be so harmful for all of our lives. Why is that? When you lie, it destroys your trust. When you lie, it destroys your character, right? So that is why it is very important to have trust between people. In our daily relationships between people, the most important component of a happy relationship is the trust. So that is why Buddha said, live a truthful life. And it is very important to have that transparency and honesty in our relationships. So the first thing that we have to stay away from is lying. And next we have divisive speech. What do you mean by divisive speech? Divisive speech is all about creating drama between people or creating conflicts between people using your words, right? It can be gossiping or it can be talking behind someone's back, right? I must say that when you talk these words or when you use this divisive speech, it is not a good thing for your life. And also it is not a good thing for other people's relationships. So Buddha said, do not use this divisive speech. Do not break the relationships between people using your words. Most of the time, we use the divisive speech out of jealousy or out of anger. So that is why it's very important to stay away from divisive speech. And the third one is, Buddha said, stay away from harsh speech. Now, when someone is calling you or when someone is treating you with rude words, how do you feel? Now, we all have been in this receiving end of such speeches, no? How did you feel? We felt sad. We felt depressed. We felt down about ourselves. So that is why Buddha said, do not use your words to put someone down, right? Do not use your words out of anger. This is all about criticizing and name calling and putting someone else down with your words, right? So Buddha said, stay away from harsh speech. And finally, Buddha said, stay away from idle chatter. What do you mean by idle chatter? Idle chatter is all about speaking meaningless or useless things, right? Now, that doesn't say that we cannot have a small chat or a fun talk with people. We can do that, but we have to know where our limit is in our speech, right? We have to set the boundaries in our speech, right? We have to know where our speech become unproductive, right? When you use these words, when you use your words in a meaningful way, you can create a positive life. And you can create a positive emotions or positive feelings in others' lives too, right? So these are the 4 unwholesome speeches that we have to stay away from, that our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us according to the Buddha's teachings, right? So why all these things matter? Why these unwholesome speeches matter in our life? Well, Buddha said, the words that we speak can create either positive or negative karma in our life. Do not think lightly about this karma, right? You have to be very careful about the karma. So the intention behind your words really matters in your life. And that is why we have to use our words wisely, because it can make a huge impact in our lives as well as in others' lives too. So words that we speak are like a knife, right? You can use the knife to cut something useful, right? And also you can use the knife to kill someone else. So let's use our words to create a better life for ourselves and for others. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you got some food for thought for your life. So until next time, I wish you all, may all of you be well and happy, and may all of you live in peace forever. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone to another video. Today, let's talk about something that is really, really important for all of our lives. Now, if you want to be good at anything that you want to be good at, let's say if you're studying, or if you're meditating, or if you are someone who is practicing the spiritual path, what is one quality? What is that one quality that you have to have in your life to be a master of it? If you're studying, what is that one quality that you have to have in your life to be a master? That is called consistency. Have you ever thought about why we are so good at bad habits or bad things? Bad things like anger, getting angry all the time, or feeling jealousy all the time, or bad things like procrastination or laziness. Why we are so good at these things? We are so good at these things because we have done it over a long period of time continuously, right? If you start getting angry, or if you start losing your temper again and again every single day, what will happen? You will be good at it, okay? If you are procrastinating the things that you want to do, then you will be a good procrastinator. So one main important quality to be good at anything in this life, or to have a habit to our life, is consistency. That is why we are so good at bad things. So we can use this theory or this consistency for our own benefit, right? If you're someone who is studying, right, you have to do it every single day, again and again, repeatedly, even in the days where you don't feel like doing it, because that is the hardest part and that is the most important part. When you feel like not doing it, but if you keep doing it, if you keep moving forward, if you keep going through it, then you will be able to make a good habit of it. And once you become good at it, or once you make a habit in it, then it will be so easy for you. So that is why our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, said that when you practice the spiritual path, right, when you practice meditations, do it again and again and again. Do not do it like here and there, once in a week, once in a blue moon. When you do that, and when you expect more results, you will never get it. So that is why Buddha said, Mettaya bhikkhave cheto vimuktya asevitaya bhavitaya bahuli kathaya. Buddha said, when you practice the mind of loving kindness, this is about practicing the loving kindness, meditation and mind of loving kindness. Asevitaya bhavitaya bahuli kathaya. That means you have to use that mind of loving kindness. You have to do it again and again, consistently, bahuli kathaya. Use it again and again. When you do that, you will be good at it. And the loving kindness, or the love, or the patience, or the compassion will be a part of your life. Okay? So when you meditate, when you practice spiritual practice, or if you're studying, or if you're in a profession, if you are developing a skill, then what is the most important thing to have in your life to be good at it? The consistency. So do it on the days that you don't feel like doing it also, right? When you do that, when you move forward through it, then you will be a master of it. But here's the most important thing that you have to have. Do not judge your progress in your life, right? We are so busy to have quick progress, quick results, because we are used to this instant world, right? We live in an instant world, right? We can find everything we want in our mobile phone, right? If you want to Google something, instantly you get the results. So we are used to this instant world. But when it comes to the spiritual practice, when it comes to the soft skills or developing the skills that you want, it is not that easy and it is not that instant. You have to do it little by little, and you have to expect little progress from one session. So do not judge your progress. Do not judge your improvements. The most important thing is to do it every single day. Keep moving, and then you will be a master of anything that you want to be a master of. Okay, so I hope you got some idea about the consistency and the value of it. So keep practicing and keep doing these things. So I wish you all, may all of you be well and happy, and may all of you live in peace forever. Namo Buddhaya. Having to go through an experience of losing a loved one can be extremely painful for people. So today, I want to share with you one advice from the Buddha that will help you to ease up, and that will help you to deal with this grief of losing a loved one. Okay, this is from Anguttara Nikaya Thana Sutta, and in this sutta Buddha mentions Sabbehi me piyehi manapehi nana bhavo vina bhavoti abhinnang paccavekkitabba. Whether you are a male person or a female or a monk or a lay person like you, whoever you are, think that one day I have to be separated from all the loving people and all the loving things around me. This is the reality. Now, this is all about admitting the reality. Normally, we don't like to admit the reality. People run away from realities. They don't like to think about that they are going to die one day. They don't like to think about that they are going to become old one day. They don't like to think about that they are going to be sick one day or get into diseases one day. So this is all about realities, right? In this life, in this very life, right, we all have to face this reality: death, sickness, old age, losing loved ones. These are the realities that we cannot stop, no? You cannot stop it, I cannot stop it, no one can stop it in this world. So one thing that Buddha tells us is admit the reality, see the reality as it is, and try to think about it. Okay, one day I have to be separated from all these people around me, right? There are lots of people around us who are very near and dear, and we love them so much. The reality is one day you and I have to be separated from all these people, no? Or we have to leave them. So what Buddha says is, get ready to face this reality, right? How do you get ready to face this reality? By thinking about this every single day, right? Buddha said, abhinnam paccavekkitabban. Think it frequently, right? I have to be separated from these people around me. One day, that is the reality. When you think about this, there's another big advantage of thinking like this. What is that? When you think about this, you can have that compassion and you can show your love and kindness purely. Why? Because you know that you are not going to be around them for a long time. You know that you are not going to be with them forever. When you know that, and when you know that you have a little time to be with these people around you, then you can show your fullest love and you can show your fullest kindness in this little time. You do your best to do that, right? You do your best to show your love and kindness. So from now onwards, get ready to face this reality, right? When you get ready for that, when you face these situations in real life, you can face them with a strong mind. Most of the time, people face these situations unsuccessfully, all right? They often feel depressed, they become so much sad. Sometimes some people end up suiciding themselves, right? So when you make your mind and to face the reality, when you make your mind strong enough to face the reality, you can move on with your life and you can face that grief successfully. So think about the reality, don't run away from that, right? Then you will be able to create a happy and a peaceful mind in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to introduce you to the most famous Buddhist text in this world. Now, if you are new to Buddhism and if you'd like to learn more about Buddhism, this is one of the best books that you can read. So, the book's name is Dhammapada. Now, what is Dhammapada? Dhammapada is a set of verses that was originally preached by the Buddha himself, and this Dhammapada contains 423 verses in it, and these 423 verses are divided into 26 chapters. So why Dhammapada is important? You know, for Hindus we have Gita, and in Christianity we have Bible, and in Islam we have Quran. Same like that, to the Buddhist world we have Dhammapada. Now Dhammapada is not the only text that we have to learn Buddhism. There are many texts, but this is called as the handbook of Buddhists. Why it is called as handbook of Buddhists? If you went through 2-3 random pages and if you read on 2-3 verses, you can learn many life advices. You can learn many Dhamma facts about life. So that is why it is called the handbook of Buddhists. So that is why it is widely used, and this is the most famous Buddhist text in this world. So as an example, if you turn to a random page and if you read a verse, you can find something very valuable. Let's go for that. So in 236th verse, the Buddha says, "Make an island for yourself. Strive hard and become wise. Get rid of impurities and cleanse of stain. You shall enter the celestial abode of the noble ones." It goes like that. So if you turn to another random page and if you read a verse, it goes like this. "The good shine even more afar, like the Himalayan mountain. But the wicked are unseen, like the arrows shot in the night." So if you turn to random pages and if you read, you can gain many life advices and many valuable Dhamma facts. So that is why we have to use this Dhammapada. If you are interested in using this Dhammapada, I will link down some links below that you can find Dhammapada and read it online also. And also there are some links that you can download the PDF file, links down below. So this is the importance of Dhammapada, and that is why it is known as the most famous Buddhist books in this world. So that is the end of this little introduction video. So I hope you found something very valuable to your life. So practice Dhamma and practice good deeds. So I wish you all, may all of you be well and happy forever. Namo Buddhaya. The sun rises from the east, and without stopping, it moves towards the west, and it sets in the evening. It is also like our life. We were born to this world, and from that day onwards, without stopping, we are moving towards the death. You and I are not dead yet, but we are dying without stopping. So today, let's talk about this important topic that many people doesn't like to talk about, the death. Well, most of us are scared of death. When you're in your families, when you're in your family with your family members, if you talk about death, what will happen? They will say that they will be offended, first of all, and they will say, no, you should not talk about death. Don't say that. So for ages and ages, death has been considered as something negative, something that is pessimistic, or something that people think that it is making our life very sad and sorrow and suffering. But in fact, the death is a very good teacher for all of us. And that is why the Buddha said, think about the death. Do not dodge that idea. Once our great teacher Supreme Buddha said, whether you are a male or a female, or a normal person, or a monk, or whoever you are, you have to think that you are a dying person. You are mortal and you are not escaped from death. That is what Buddha said. Why we should think about death? Why we should concentrate on our death? Well, is it making our life suffering, or is it make our life very negative? No. It is not the death that makes our life suffering or negative. It is the perspective that we are holding on to death makes us negative. So remember, we all should concentrate on our death and think about it. Always we have to think that I am a dying person. Today, I can face the death. There are many chances for that. So when we think about that, Buddha said, it says and it tells you, the death tells you that, hey, you have an expire date. You're not going to live forever on this world. No? You have a little time on this earth. So before you meet your death, you have to be a good person. You have to cultivate more good qualities in your life. You have to spread the love and affection and compassion towards this world, because that is why we are here for. So in this limited time, we have to do that. We have to cultivate more good qualities in our life, right? We have to be a good person to this world, because that will leave beautiful memories in the people's hearts. The Buddha said that people are intoxicated with their life, right? People think that they are not going to die. We often do not feel that we are going to die, do we? No. We think that we are going to live for the next day and to the next day. We have so many plans in our life, right? But from a split second, within a split second, everything can change. Okay? So that is why Buddha said, people are intoxicated with life, and when they are intoxicated with life, what happens to you? You tend to do, and you are going to do the bad things or evil things from your body, from your speech, and from your mind. But if a person who is reminding his death, if a person who is reminding that to himself that I'm going to die one day, he knows that at any time he can die, right? So he knows that I have a little time on this earth, so before I meet my death, I have to add more good qualities to my life. So that is what the death teaches us. So do not be afraid to death. Why? Because we all face the death one day, in one way or another. No one can escape it. No one can run away from it. So that is a reality. So why not we think about it and make our minds strong to face that with a happy mind, in a successful way. So that is why the Buddha said to concentrate on death. So whenever you are possible, and every morning, think that today I might die. So if I'm going to die today, what are the things that I should do? I should give more love to my people around me. I should help them. Because at the end, these materialistic things that you are holding onto is not going to help you. Only the good qualities will help you on your way. So think about the death. Do not be afraid of it. Because when you think about the death, your life will be more and more successful. Keep that in mind. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control these emotions of anger. Well, anger itself is a natural human emotion. We all feel angry. But if we do not know how to control this emotion, if we do not know how to deal with anger, sometimes it can be destructive. And if we let that anger to control over our life, we will get into lots of troubles. So today, I'm going to introduce you a little practice that you can practice in your practical life to deal with this emotion. Well, first of all, I have to remember, none of these practices are easy. In fact, nothing in life that brings us the happiness, that brings the peacefulness to your life is not an easy task. It is a difficult one. Though it is difficult, we cannot abandon it because we like to be happy and we like to be peaceful in our life. So that is why Buddha said that everything that brings the happiness to your life is a difficult task. So what are the things that we can do to deal with these emotions of anger? Well, the first and the foremost thing that you can do to deal with these emotions is to acknowledge that your thoughts are in anger. If you don't know your thoughts are in anger, you cannot deal with it. So this includes the mindfulness, right? Whenever you are about to get angry, whenever you feel that you are triggered by this anger, just ask this question: what am I thinking now? In which mode my thoughts are in now, right? Whenever you ask that question and whenever you answer it, you can find, oh, I'm about to get angry now. Now my thoughts are in anger. That is the first step, to know that you are angry. Then it comes to the second step, right? So in this second step, if you look at this, if I ask a question from you, whenever you feel angry, imagine a situation that you have felt angry about something or someone, right? How your breathing pattern works. How our breathing pattern changes when we feel angry. It speeds up and we take short breaths, right? So that gives the sign to our body, that gives the message to our body that now you're ready for getting angry. We are breathing heavily, we are breathing in short periods, and we are breathing speedily. So the first thing that you can do is to slow down your breathing pattern. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take another deep breath in and let it out. Slowing down the breathing pattern will help you to calm your body and calm your mind, right? Whenever we feel calm and when we are about to take a rest, what is the thing that we do? For an example, after a long day of work, when you come home and after having a good shower, if you fell on the couch, right? If you fell on the bed, what is the first thing that you do? You take a deep breath in and let it out. That is the thing that you do. That means you are giving the signal to your body that you are about to get calm or to have a rest. So the thing that we have to do, whenever we feel angry, whenever we feel we panicked, just give the message to your body that be calm by taking 2 to 3 deep breaths in and out, right? So breathing can help you a lot. Then as the third step, now you're a little bit peaceful and calming. Now you can wisely reflect on your thought pattern. When you reflect about your thoughts, you can find, why did I become angry with this person? What is that? Then you can find that anger does not prevail in an outer world, in that person or that thing, a specific thing. Anger prevails in my mind, right? It is something that I have created. Whenever you come to a situation that you are triggered to be angry, you come up with these two choices, either to react with negativity or to respond with positivity. That is up to you, right? And your experiences and your good and bad experiences depends on these choices that you make. So you totally have the power and you totally have the privilege to respond with positivity, right? So you have to believe in patience for that. Remember, there is nothing in this world, there is no problem in this world that has been solved with anger. That is why Buddha said, anger does not cease by anger, or hatred does not cease by hatred. Hatred is ceased by love and kindness only. So you have to believe in patience and compassion and forgiveness. That is the way that you are going to solve the problem, right? Though you react in anger, though you yell out or scream or take actions with anger, that is not going to help. That is not going to solve the problem. It will make the problem even more worse. I have seen lots of people who could not control their anger for a split second. Just because they could not control their anger for a split second, now they are regretting for their whole life. So remember, anger is not going to help you. So when you believe in patience and kindness and compassion, you will have this strength to face that situation more positively. Remember what Buddha said. The Buddha said, before you do something from your body, from your speech, or from your mind, just wisely reflect that what I'm going to do, is this worthy of doing? Is it bringing happiness to myself, or is it bringing happiness to others? Is it going to hurt others, or is it going to hurt myself? If it is hurting you and if it is hurting to other self, do not try to do it. Remember, it is okay that we feel angry sometimes in our mind, but it is not okay to let that anger to flow out from our bodily actions and our words, right? So remember, this is how we can control it. Always believe in patience and kindness. That is where you're gonna solve the problems. So this is a little practice where we can deal with these emotions of anger. So practice these practices little by little and make your life a peaceful one. Namo Buddhaya. If you are going through stress or anxiety or depression in your life, or if you have a tough time in your life, here is one thing that you have to remember. You are not all alone in this world. Don't think that you don't have help. Don't think that no one is caring about you. The truth is, there are people who can help you and who are willing to help you. All you got to do is just step a little outside and seek for the help from correct people and from the correct places. So when the life throws challenges towards us, when there is tough times in life, we tend to think that we are the only person who is going through depression, anxiety or stress or problems. But the truth is, if you see the world, there are millions and millions of people who are struggling and who are suffering in this life, right? We all struggle in our lives to live in this world, right? So it is not your suffering. It is not only my suffering. It is our suffering. We all are suffering in this world. The Buddha said, where there is birth, there is suffering. That is the reality. But we don't want to think about this suffering as something negative, right? It is not the suffering that makes us negative. It is the perspective that we are holding on to suffering makes us negative, right? So, today, I'm not here to talk about depression and how to quit the depression. Today, I'm going to share with you a simple Buddhist practice that can help you in healing these depressive thoughts or anxious thoughts or any kind of mental suffering that you're having. And this practice is called becoming mindful about your thoughts, right? Becoming mindful about your thoughts. In Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha explains this as Chittanupassana. So how can we practice becoming mindful about our thoughts? It is very simple, right? You can do this practice whenever you want or wherever you want. It is free. You totally have the freedom to do it, right? Here's how we can do this. And when we become mindful about our thoughts, what we are doing is we are not judging our thoughts, and also we are not trying to stop our thoughts, but we constantly become aware of what we are thinking, what comes to our mind. So all you got to do is you can sit down, or you can do this while walking, while traveling in the bus, or wherever you want. Just ask from yourself that, what am I thinking? Then you will come across with these thoughts, right? So what we have to do is, whenever you become depressed, whenever you feel anxious about yourself, whenever you feel sad about something, what you have to do is just notice it. Notice it as a thought. Because most of the time, we judge ourselves by thoughts. We are thinking about ourselves as our thoughts. But remember, you are not your thoughts. When you become more mindful, it gives you this ability to separate yourself from your thoughts, right? So we don't want to judge ourselves by our thoughts. What we are doing is we become mindful. We become more aware of our thoughts without judging. It is very simple. It's like this. It's like you're watching a traffic pass by sitting beside the road. You can see cars are going, you can see bikes are going, vans, buses, cargo carriers. There are so many vehicles that are going. All you're doing is you're just watching them. You're just noticing them, right? But most of the time what happens is we become more afraid about these vehicles and we try to jump into the middle of the road and we are trying to stop these things, right? That is what you are doing. That is what we are doing when we become depressed or sad. When these sad and depressed thoughts haunt our mind, what we are doing is we are trying to fight it. We are trying to suppress them. We are trying to stop them. The more you try to stop these thoughts, it will come again and again. Remember that. So all you got to do is, we are not going to fight them. We are not going to stop them. We are noticing them, right? You can do this. Just ask this simple question from you. What am I thinking? Then you will find that, oh, my thoughts are depressed. It is not me that is depressed. My thoughts are depressed, right? So what is the nature of a thought? It will come and it will stay for a while in your mind and it will fade away. That is the nature of the thought. So it is just a thought. That means you are not the depression, you are not the anxiety, and you are not the stress. Remember, if you feel hopeless, if you feel that you are not good enough, don't believe what your mind always says. You are more capable than you think. You are more good than you think, right? So what is holding back us is this little frame that we are having inside our mind, that I am not good enough. I cannot do these things. I'm not capable of doing these things. I'm hopeless. No one is going to help me. If you change that mindset one day, remember, you can do better and you can do more than you think. So please, don't think that you are not good enough. I repeat again that you are more capable of doing things more than you think, right? So believe in it and work for it. So if you are going through painful situations and if you are having painful memories about yourself, don't run away from them. Don't be afraid of them. Remember, pain is a part of growing, right? If you want to grow, sometimes you have to go through pain. Most of the time you have to go through pain. So if you practice these mindful exercises, and if you seek for the help, and if you do this proper medication for your mental suffering, then one day for sure you are going to be okay. You are going to be happy in your life. And this is the best part of recovering from these traumatic and painful situations. What is that? You can help someone who is in the same place as you were. You can say that, do these things, practice these things, think like this, because I know the pain that you are going through, because I was a person like you. But I am recovered now. You also can recover yourself. So you can inspire others and you can help others. And then you will find the real value of your life. So please do not think that you are not good enough. You're more than enough than you think. So remember these things and practice these things in your life. And I wish you all, may all of you find the real happiness in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome and welcome back to another video. Today, I want to discuss with you about how can we become peaceful and how can we become calm from our mind. Now we know that we are living in a world where we are constantly bombarded and constantly overloaded with information, with distractions, and all of the chaos. So what happens when we live in such an environment is we become so reactive and we tend to lose our peacefulness, we tend to lose our calmness in our mind. And then what happens is our frustration, stress, and depression builds in. So how can we deal with this? And what can we do to eliminate these distractions and this constant chatter in our mind and have a peaceful mind in the middle of chaos? So today I'm going to share a few tips where you can practice in your daily life. And then you can, if you practice this, it will be a great help to find peacefulness and calm in the middle of all the chaos. So the first thing that you have to understand is calmness and peacefulness is not an outer source. It doesn't come from outer world, right? It can be found within. So no matter where you live, no matter what the place you live, no matter what you do, if you really focus on this calmness, and if you're clever enough to find that, then you will be able to find the calmness and peacefulness in the middle of all the chaos. So always remember, calmness and peacefulness should be built and should be developed within, okay? And also, you have to remember one thing, that calmness and peacefulness is not about emptying your mind, right? When you become calm and peaceful, it doesn't say that there's nothing in your mind, no thoughts in your mind, right? Thoughts may appear in your mind, right? There will be lots of thoughts and train of thoughts will be appear in your mind. But when you become really calm and when you become serene from your mind, you tend to not to react to all those stimulations. That is what the real calmness and peacefulness means. Okay? Normally, when the thoughts appear, right? When all these kind of trains of thoughts appear in our mind, what happens to us is we oftenly react to them, right? We become panicked and we tend to react to them. So the reason why this happens is because we think that thoughts as us. And we tend to think that I am what I think and I am my thoughts. But in reality, thoughts are not you. You are not your thoughts, right? Thoughts are just like they're coming and going. It's like clouds, right? There's the sky and there's the clouds, right? So what is the nature of a cloud? It comes and it swarms around and it goes off, right? Sometimes the sky is cloudy, sometimes the sky is moody, sometimes the clouds are scattered here and there, and sometimes the sky is empty. So you are like the sky and your thoughts are like the clouds. Okay, so there's a huge distance between the sky and the clouds. But we often think that the clouds as the sky. Sometimes when it is raining, sometimes when it is moody, we blame to the sky, right? We tend to say that, oh, this weather is not okay. The sky is always raining and it's moody. But sky is not raining. Clouds are what forms the rain, right? Clouds forms the rain. So same as that, when the thoughts appear in your mind, you can take a little step back and think, should I react to this? Should I react upon these thoughts? For an example, if an angry thought came to your mind, what should you do? Just pause a little bit and think, should I react to this? You can have a little bit of a time and think about it. Oh, this is anger. I should not react to this. This is jealousy. I should not react to this. Okay? It's okay to have thoughts in your mind. But if you want to be peaceful, you should not, and you should choose to not to react to those thoughts. So there are a few practices where we can do in our daily life to to make a little bit of a help to this peacefulness and calmness. One thing that you can do is that you can slow down your body movement for a little time period of the day. Maybe like when you have time and when you're working by yourself, maybe like you're walking, maybe like you're writing something, or maybe like you're studying. Try to maintain slow body movements. Now, why I say this? Because our body and our mind is highly interconnected. Okay? When our thoughts become panicked, our body become panicked. So in the other way, if we calm down and if we slow down our bodily movements, it will be a great help for us to slow down the thought process. Then you can take a little time and think about what comes to your mind. That is one thing that you can do. And also there's another great practice that Buddha told us to do, that is called breathing meditation. When you do the breathing meditation, you reduce these heavy loads of thoughts into two thoughts, in breath and out breath. In breathing meditation, all what we are doing is you are constantly becoming aware of in breath and out breath. When you do that, it's sort of like condensing your mind. It's sort of like making your mind soft and peaceful and non-reactive. That is what you can do. And also there's another thing that you can do is to not to judge your thoughts and to be aware of your thoughts. I will give you an example. It's like you're watching a traffic pass by the side of the road, right? You can see cars and bikes and vans and buses are going, but you're not going to judge them. You're not going to stop them. You're not going to chase behind them. You sit by the road and you just watch them. Let the vehicles be the vehicles and you be you. In the same way, let the thoughts be the thoughts and you be you. when you become less reactive to your thoughts, you can find that peacefulness and calmness in your mind. So I hope you got some light to about the calmness and peacefulness from this video. So I hope may all of you be well and happy, and may all of you be calm and peaceful forever. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control our negative emotions and how to control our mind. Well, the nature of our mind is it always likes to wander in negative emotions and negative thoughts. Negative thoughts like anger, desire, or lust, or then jealousy, maybe resentment. These are the negative thoughts that our mind likes to wander in. So how can we control it? Well, our great teacher Supreme Buddha introduced us a gradual training where you can practice this controlling of negative emotions or negative thoughts in your mind. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce them to you. So first and foremost, before getting into these steps, there is one thing that you have to practice, and there is one thing that you have to master, and that is awareness. If you are not aware of what you're thinking, if you are not mindful about what you're thinking, then you cannot control it. So you have to totally understand and you have to totally be aware of what you're thinking. Okay? So whenever you become aware of what you're thinking, then you will have that power to control it. So here comes the first step. Buddha says, whenever you become aware of your mind is wandering in negative thoughts like anger or lustful thoughts or resentment or jealousy, the first thing is to shift your thought pattern to something wholesome. There are some wholesome thoughts in your mind which makes you peaceful. Maybe like thinking of something that you have done in the past, like maybe you helped someone. Whenever you think that thought, your mind becomes happy and peaceful. So what you're going to do is, whenever you become aware of your negative thoughts, we're going to shift our thought pattern to something that is wholesome, something that makes us peaceful. So that is the first thing that Buddha says. Shift your thoughts to wholesome thoughts. If that first step did not work out, then what you have to do, go for the next step. What is that? Buddha says, think about the disadvantages of thinking negative emotions, right? If you are constantly having angry thoughts, then you have to think, these thoughts are hurting myself and others. If I take actions according to these thoughts, it will hurt myself and the others. Remember, it may be a little thought of anger, but if it grow up, what will happen? It will be destructive. So what do you have to do? Think about the drawbacks or disadvantages of thinking these negative thoughts. Then, whenever you see these disadvantages, your mind will tend to stay away from these negative thoughts. Most of the time, we are not aware of these disadvantages. Okay? So what do you have to do? Think, if I keep on thinking these negative thoughts, it is not going to help me. It will disrupt my peacefulness, right? That is the second step. Then as the third step, Buddha says, pay no mind, pay no attention. If the second step did not work out, go for the third step, to not to pay any attention to that thought, right? See, whenever we give so much attention to something, maybe a thought, it grows again and again, it grows more, right? For an example, if you became angry with someone and if you keep thinking about him again and again and becoming angry, that anger will grow more and more. So what do you have to do? We have to let the thought be a thought without paying much attention, right? When you just stay away from giving attention, then it will fade away from your mind. It's something like this. Have you seen little babies, when they fall down, they start to cry, right? If the parent or the mother or father see that it is not a big deal of falling, if mother or father did not give any attention to that baby, what does he do? He just don't care about that. He will stop crying. Same thing goes with our mind. If we did not pay any attention to that thought, right? If we did not care about that thought and just let it go and let it pass away from our mind, then it will fade away. That is one way of doing that. If the third step did not work for you, then the Buddha says, go for the fourth step to relax your thought process, right? Now remember, when you think negative thoughts, your mind becomes so much busy, so much rough and distracted. So what you're going to do is, you're thinking, why am I thinking these distractive thoughts, these negative thoughts that are making me so much busy and making me distracted, right? So what you're going to do is, you're relaxing your thought process to something very soft and subtle. Maybe like loving kindness, maybe like compassion, right? Maybe like gratefulness. When you think those thoughts, when you think more positive thoughts, your mind or your thought process becomes so much relaxed. And then if the fourth step did not work for you, then it comes the final step. This is something that we have to do with a great care. I do not recommend for everyone to do this. This should be done with a great experience and a good practice, right? And that is to crush your thought with awareness, right? You have to be totally aware of your thinking pattern and have a good determination to your mind that I am not going to think these negative thoughts, right? But this should not be done by everyone, right? Some may be not good at this, right? If you keep on becoming aware and if you keep on forcing this mind, it will grow more and more these negative thoughts. So if all those 4 steps did not work for you, then you have to go for the final step, right? So it is much better to practice these 4 thoughts before doing the final one. Okay, so practice these things. When you practice, you will feel and you will understand that your negative emotions are fading away little by little. Remember, this is not going to happen overnight. It will take a long time to do this, but you have to keep on practicing. Keep on doing it. Make it a habit, and then you will become a master of it. So practice this practice and make your mind a place where free from negative thoughts. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. I need to ask a question from you. Do you really exist? Now, have you ever thought of this question? This sounds like a funny question, right? Do you really exist? And do I really exist? Now, this was a question that was asked from the Buddha on point, but the Buddha refused to give any answer to this question. Buddha kept silent to this question. The reason why the Buddha kept silent was not because he did not know about anything about this, but the Buddha said that by answering these kind of questions will lead to a lot of wrong views. It will lead to a lot of problems, okay? Now, for an example, if one said like, okay, I do not exist or you do not exist, then there will be many questions and many problems. Then it will lead to many problems like, okay, if I do not exist, then who is the person who is experiencing all those karma? And who is the person who is being reborn? Okay. And also, if I don't really exist, what's the point of doing good and bad things, right? There's no point of doing good and there's no point of doing bad, okay? And there's no point of becoming kind to people and there's no point of helping people. So it will lead to many problems and many ethical dilemmas by answering these kinds of questions. And that is why the Buddha refused to give answers on point and directly to these kind of questions. But the Buddha explained that who you are, okay? That's what Buddha focused on. So the Buddha said that by answering these kinds of questions, by saying that you don't exist, you fall into one extreme, and that is called nihilism or complete annihilation. Now, one of the complaints that Buddha got in his time was the people complained him that he was a complete annihilator. So, okay, he annihilates people by letting them into the nibbana. So people considered nibbana as a complete annihilation, but it is not a complete annihilation. The Buddha said that when you say that you don't exist, it falls under one extreme, and that is called nihilism, which was known as ucheda. And if you say that you exist, then it falls into the other extreme, and that is called the shashvata or the eternalism. What Buddha teaches you is, what the Buddha says, that my teachings lies in the middle. I teach you the middle way. What is the middle way? To find what you consider as who you are or true self, okay, and realize the nature of it. The Buddha did not say that you don't exist. The Buddha did not say that you exist. The Buddha said what one consider as self or I is subjected to change, right? Now, what we consider as I is our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our body, and our mind. Okay, this is whom we call I. And also, what are the things that we consider as ours? The things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we smell, and the things that we taste, and the things that we physically feel, and the things that we think. So all those things together we called as I, or my things, okay, myself. So the Buddha said, just take a look to these things, what you call self, and understand that all the things that you consider as yourself is subjected to change. It is ever changing. For an example, our eyes and our ears, nose, tongue, body, mind is ever changing, right? What we see in this world, what we experience in this world is subjected to change. Right here, right now, it is changing. So the Buddha said, what you consider as I or myself or mine is subjected to change. Then the Buddha said, if something is subjected to change, and that is suffering, okay, that leads to suffering. For an example, let's say we're having a good time and we're having good experiences and good feelings and happy feelings. So what we like to do, we like for them to be permanent. Okay, we like to feel good forever, but it is subjected to change. Okay, it is changing, and when it is changing, we suffer. And let's say we are having a bad experience or difficult experience, then with what we think is, okay, this pain, this suffering is going to last forever, but it is also subjected to change. So that is why the Buddha said, what you consider as you is subjected to change, and if something is subjected to change, it is suffering. And then Buddha said, if something is suffering, should it be considered as mine or I or myself? Turns out it is not. Why? Because if something is suffering, we should not consider it as ourselves. We don't like to consider it as ourselves, because as human beings, okay, as beings, we all like to be happy, not to suffer. Okay? And that is why the Buddha said, Buddha did not say that you do not exist. The Buddha did not say that you exist. The Buddha said, what you consider as yourself, what you consider as I, is subjected to change, and it is suffering. And then, as it is suffering, it should not be considered as self. Now, this whole concept is called anatta in Buddhism. Anatta, the word anatta, is oftenly translated as no self. But rather, when you take this word no self, right, it gives the meaning that you don't exist. That is why many people say, okay, the Buddha said that you don't exist. No, Buddha did not say that you do not exist. The Buddha said what you considered as I or you is not yourself. Okay, it should not be considered as yourself. And that is what the concept of anatta. Rather than saying no self, it's much better to say that it is not self. And this is the whole idea behind the concept of anatta in Buddhism. So I hope you learned something new today. I wish you all, may all of you be happy and healthy. Namo Buddhaya.